You guys ever notice why the best bars and the best nightclubs always have the ugliest point of sale systems? It's because they're fast and speed is everything, especially when you own a bar. The nice looking point of sale systems like Square, Toast, this iPad based point of sale system, or this Clover point of sale system, those things were not designed for bars. Because when your customer goes to check out, there's like 8 different options your customer has to complete just to do their order.
All right, to check out from Toast, I'm a customer, I've got a tab open. I want to close it. I go up and ask the staff, can I close my tab? The staff goes, yeah, what's your name? I look around the corner, my name is Bob Davis. They find my name in the list. They click on pay, and they click on guest pay, 3 clicks for the staff. And then in very small font on this little screen, we see insert, swipe, or tap to pay. So the customer tries to tap their card on the screen, and of course it doesn't work. Then we instruct them they've got to stick their chip into the reader, which then they put it into the mag strip. So then we say no the top slot, so they finally put it in the top slot. The device says reading card in very small font, and it gives them this tip screen with very small buttons, and the very first button on the upper right is no tip, which my staff loves. And then once they do select a tip amount, they have to click continue to get to the next screen. And here we are with this receipt screen that we do not have a ability to disable. So people look at the options and they go, yeah, I want to email my receipt. And then we get some guy that says, I want to send my email to harleyrider79@gmail.com, and they make about 8 mistakes. We walk them through typing in their name. They finally get the thing, it tells them take their card. So they take their card. This says come again. And of course, for some odd reason, my staff has to click start new order.
However, this is the best point of sale system for bars because it's quick.
Total, cash, okay, transaction over.
Now, I know it's pretty ugly, but who cares? At the end of the day, it's gonna make your business a lot faster, more efficient, and let's be realistic, it's gonna make your business a lot more money at the end of the day because you're a business, you're here to make a profit. So don't you want the fastest and most reliable point of sale system on the market? My friend Dan is actually gonna go through an entire demo for you guys so you can see for yourself.
First off, you see the hot sauce logo floating around. This can be replaced with the client's logo. If they're concerned about branding or have any outward-facing terminals, we can replace it with their logo. To log in, we tap the screen. It pulls up a number pad. Most employees will just be given a 4-digit number to use to sign in. We can provide manager cards for additional security on management functions. Confirms the employee clocking in with the first name and last initial. If they only have one job code, it will skip this part, but they can have multiple job codes in. These can have different pay rates. One can be salaried while others are hourly. And they can have different security settings or the same security settings across all of them. So they could be limited to no manager functions when they clock in as a server, or if it's somebody that the client trusts, whenever they manage, they can still give them manager level security access even when they're serving or bartending. This is selecting the dining room. This is just the default dining room that they are loading into whenever they log in. They still will be able to switch in between the other dining rooms once they are in the system. Lastly is our 86th items. These are items that they're currently out of. It could be limited time offers, it could be seasonal items, or it could just be something that maybe they didn't get all of their order on a delivery truck, and so they can't provide some items. They can easily print this out as well so that the servers can keep it in their server pad or aprons whenever they're at the table. So now we're logged in. As I said, they could still go between the different dining rooms. And when they do log into the computer, once they've clocked in, they don't go through all those pop-ups. That's just whenever they initially do the clock-in process. This is not a typical dining room setup. This is just kind of showing some of the different shapes and sizes that we can do for the tables. We will work with the client to get this to accurately reflect their dining room. We can put in landmarks to help the servers orient themselves when they're looking at it during the implementation process. In order to start a table, I click on it and select the number of guests. I now have 4 guests or seats to assign different items to down here. If somebody leaves or somebody joins the table, they can still change the guest count. I'll ring in a few drinks. At this point, none of these are actually logged into the system, so they can still go in, highlight one, and click remove and take it off. In order to actually start the table and log these items in, we click send. It turns the table red to let management or hosting staff know that this table is now in use. And if other servers try to log into it, it will tell them it's locked out. We can open it up to other servers, but that's not typically the way most table service restaurants work, and so by default we do keep it locked down per server. To get back into the table, I click on it and click Modify Order. At this point, you'll see these little blue asterisks next to each of the guests or the items, and that means these have been logged into the table, so I can't remove them anymore. Instead, now we need manager level access to either void, comp, or discount these items off the check. I can still go in and change seat numbers if need be, in case I rang up something on the wrong seat or else people moved around. For the purpose of the demo, we're going to assume that the guest already knew both the appetizers and entrees that they wanted. We will do the menu build process with them during the implementation, and we do have more room to fit extra buttons in here. We have the ability to have sub-menus in there, and each of these links can have multiple pages if need be. However, we will try to steer them away from having multiple pages per link, just because that means the server is spending more time hunting for items on the system. First, we're going to ring in their appetizer. This is an example of what's called a forced modifier. They cannot ring in this item without making one of these selections. It could be sauces for wings, it could be meat selection for a salad, it could be side options for a sandwich. But they have to select one of these options before they can ring this in. This is what's called an unforced modifier. You'll notice I have this done button down here so that I can actually just skip past this piece of the modifier if I don't want to select any of these options. This is also an unforced modifier. However, this one I set up to show you that we can also give certain amount of options for free and then charge for any additional add-ons. So for this example, I gave 2 dressings per 10 wings. So I can ring in 2 ranches, but anything else I ring in after that will charge. At this point, we've got their appetizer in. Most table service places will want to have appetizers rung up on their own separate tickets for the kitchen. This just ensures that they don't have a ticket with appetizer and entrees and have to cross off the appetizer once it's sold. And it also means that this starts getting made while they're ringing in the entrees. To facilitate this, we have the Send Stay button. Instead of using the Send button and then having to reselect the table, go back in, and then start doing your entrees, they can just click Send Stay. It keeps them here in the order entry screen, but it's now sent this off to the kitchen, so this is being made and is on its own separate ticket now. We'll ring in some entrees for them. Whenever we do the menu setup, we will try to create some sort of logical layout for the menu. So we may have certain things priced out in columns. So these are 0, these are 50 cents, this is $1. We'll do color coordination to also try to assist with that. Additionally, we do have the ability to put in item counts on modifiers or specific items, so that once this reaches 0, it will automatically 86 the item and won't be able to be ordered anymore. And it's also a way of keeping track of counts if necessary. Now in these modifiers, the price is listed out separately with each of the items, and these will print on the check showing this price has upped the charge. We do have another form of modifier called a roll-up modifier. You'll notice this burger is $12.99. As I add in a cheese, it becomes $13.49. So the price actually of this modifier rolls up into the parent item. And obviously this can be set per modified item depending on what they want to display to the guest. We also have some instructions along here on the side, and with these buttons it makes it to where we can limit the modifiers to just ingredients. So instead of having to have an onion, no onion button, you can click onion or you can click no onion. You can also do certain functions with these buttons. So if I normally add an avocado in, it charges $1. But if I click no avocado, then it doesn't add any charge in. And this makes it to where they can easily control some of the pricing on ingredients that may come included on something, but they want to remove it, but don't want to charge the person when they remove it, obviously. So we can have these modifiers that pop up. You can have up to 10 in a sequence. However, we will try to limit it if they have that many attached. The other way that you can modify an item is with this general modifier category. So I can ring in something and then hit modifier right here, and I can have basic ingredients or instructions within here that maybe they don't need them to pop up every time they ring this item, but they still need to be able to modify it occasionally. Well, they can still have this general modifier area in order to do that. Lastly, we have the keyboard so that they can type in whatever they need to. And it will be added to the check or to the order as well. It does print out in all caps just to let the kitchen staff know that it is a keyboarded in item. So if there was any pricing that needed to be put on there, they're alerted to the fact that no price was attached since it was keyboarded in. So I'll send those back to the kitchen as well. Now maybe this table is finished eating, they're ready for a dessert. And once we add in a dessert item to the check, it changes it to another color, just as another status indicator for host staff or management in case they are keeping a wait list. They can update it appropriately. Once the client's ready to print the check, we select print check. By default, it highlights each of the guests with this little blue outline so that when I click print, it will print out the entire check for the table. Check will look something like this. And we do have the ability to charge different totals based off of it's paid with cash, or if they pay with credit card and you want to pass along the charge to the guest, we can do that. The verbiage on the receipt is configurable, so we can change these to whatever we need to. And this rate can be put in as a percentage up to 4%, or it can just be put in as a flat rate as 50 cents or 75 cents, however they'd like to do it. Once you've printed a check, it turns the table green as yet another status indicator, letting them know this table is just about finished. Now we've taken that check out to the guest, and maybe they wanted to split up the check. Guests 1 and 2 are together, 3 and 4 are together, but they want to split the appetizer. In order to do that, we go to Modify Order. We highlight the appetizer. And we have split item. Because I have 4 guests on the check, I have up to four different options, or 4 different ways I can split it. If I had 5, then I'd have a split 5 option as well. In the example I gave, we're splitting it in half, so I'm going to do split 2. And now I can assign half the wings to seat 1, and the other half of the wings are still on seat, and the other half of the wings I'll assign to seat 3. So now we can go back to print check, and I can highlight just guests 1 and 2 and print that check alone. Because I only printed a portion of the check, it automatically prompts me to see if I need to print more. One other nice feature is the separate checks button. Especially for larger parties, if there was 15 guests on here and they were all paying individually, we can select this option and it will just automatically print a check for guest 1, a check for guest 2, for 3, without you having to select each guest and then hitting print in between. Closing out the check brings up a similar interface. So I can select guest 1 and 2, click close, and now I'm just looking at the totals for guest 1 and 2. If for some reason they don't print out receipts normally for their guests, or if it's a counter service restaurant, they can always hit one of the credit card options and then see what the credit card total will be with the fee added in right here. And they can, if need be, type in an amount that they want to charge the credit card and then do a portion of the payment somewhere else. And whatever amount they type in, it will adjust that fee as well accordingly. Now we split up the check by seat. We've split up an item within the check. The other way that people will often want to split up a check is just splitting up the payment. Maybe they have two cards and they want to put half on one, half on the other. Maybe it's two families, they don't care who had what and they just want to pay 50-50. Whatever the case may be, you can split up a payment with the split button right here. If they were splitting it 50-50, then I would be splitting it twice. And now any payment option I hit will only be for half of the check. I can even do cash, give them back the change on their portion of the half, and then do more cash and still get a different change function for them as well. Because I only closed out a portion of the check, just like when I printed it, it prompts me automatically to see if I need to close out the other two. And it will automatically have the remaining guests highlighted so that I can easily close them out as well. For bar functions, we have create tabs and fastbar. When I create a tab, I can just type in a name if I'd like, or we can swipe the credit card. It will pull the name from the card. Whenever I start a tab, by default, it's going to go to the alcohol menu and automatically only put one guest on the check. These purple buttons I haven't mentioned are for quantity ordering, so that I can easily ring up multiple items at one time without having to hit the button often, or we can type in however many we need. These can be displayed separately like this, or they can be grouped all together to show 6 and then Coors, all dependent upon how the client wants it to be displayed to their employees. Some of them don't trust their employees to see the number beforehand. Others don't want to waste paper and have it print out longer pages when it doesn't need to. Once I've sent in the items on a tab, I can easily recall it. It can be listed out either alphabetically, or we can list it out to where the newest order is in the top left, the oldest order is in the bottom right. Our other bar function is the fastbar area. You'll notice I no longer have a send button, but instead it says exit down here. And I have payment options right here instead. Additionally, there is no table number or tab name, instead it just says fastbar. The idea with this is that you're closing each guest as they come up, and it's always just about immediately being ready for the next guest. It's particularly useful for bars or places that may experience long lines and they're just trying to go as quickly as possible. This also works out well for bars that may have multiple levels, different bars on different floors. They're not looking to open up tabs and have people move all throughout the venue and keep using their same tab depending on wherever they started it. Instead, with this, you ring up items, and you can't exit out until you've closed the order. You'll notice the order ID is 1311. As soon as I close out this order, it tells me the change, and I tap here, changes it to 1312, and I'm ready for my next guest. Now I can start an order, and maybe now they tell me, oh, I actually wanted to open up a tab, and if that is something they do at that venue, then they can go ahead and click Open Tab here, scan a card, or type in a name. And now that there is a name that the order is stored under, I now have my Send button back. I can click Send to store the order, and I'm immediately back in Fastbar, and I'm ready for my next guest. Similarly, I can use Recall Tab here, close it out, and it will come back to Fastbar, so I'm ready for my next person. One other piece I haven't addressed are these buttons down here. Regardless of where I'm in the menu, they stay the same. Those are called hot items. They can be commonly ordered items. It can be seasonal specials that they just want to put in front of their employee's face so that they can remember that they have them. or it can be commonly used modifiers that they don't want to hunt around to find if they use them on a regular basis. Lastly, we have our express order area. And this is for call-in, pickups, to-goes, or for quick service restaurants. If they are a table service place, they will log into this table view, and then they can still get here by clicking Express. If it is a quick service restaurant that doesn't need table views, they don't do any sort of table service, then we can set up hot sauce just to log in straight to this screen and bypass the table view. We have several order types, and we can create more if need be. These can do different functions depending on which order type they select. Call-in would generally only require a first name and telephone number. Delivery would require a telephone number, first name, and some address information. Carry out can just go straight into an order and identify it by a number that they'll call out, or we can have it ask for a name. Eat Here is actually going to be more of like a fast food place. You'll notice this is like the fast bar setup. They can take orders. Take payment. Give change. And it stays within this screen so that they're constantly ready for their next guest if it is a quick service or fast food store. If they do need to take a call-in order or a delivery, they can always exit out, and then it will prompt them for their next order type. With call-ins, it's going to ask for the telephone number. We do have the ability to integrate a caller ID system as well. And based off of the caller telephone number, it will pull up stored customer information. It will also let you know how long the customer has been with you, their total amount of orders, total dollars spent, average order total, and the last time you heard from them. Additionally, you can also schedule orders for the future, a couple days, a couple months, or years in advance. We can set this up to print up at the time of the order's placed, or we can have it print up day of the order, 15 minutes before the order goes out, 30 minutes, an hour, or we can even set it up to the day the order goes out, it prints up all future orders at 8 a.m. in the kitchen so that they know all the orders going out for that day and they can prep accordingly. This can be very useful for event venues or for places that do catering. Once you've entered in the customer info, based off of their telephone number, it will pull up their most recent order so that you can easily reorder items for them. Once you send it in, express orders will show up in the express order area instead. And express orders can be opened up to everybody while still keeping tables locked down. Similarly, we can keep bar tabs opened up to all bartenders while still keeping tables locked down per server and keeping express orders open to everybody. Each of those is configurable separately, depending on how the business runs. We do have the ability of attaching delivery fees to delivery orders or to-go fees to to-go orders, depending on which order type they select. We also have the ability of storing multiple clients' information under the same telephone number. It could be a doctor's office with multiple nurses. It could be a school office with multiple employees who call in from the same number. Or it could be the same customer who calls in from their cell phone but sometimes gets delivered at home, sometimes gets deliveries to the office. We do have the ability to add in delivery charges automatically, and it can save delivery fees per customer. So this customer maybe is far out, and so we've set up a higher delivery fee for them, whereas typically the delivery fee is only $3, whereas it was $12 for that other customer. Delivery charges or to-go charges will automatically be added to the order, and then you add in the additional items. Delivery orders do display separately so that they can be recognized separate from the other to-go orders. And we do have the ability to add in a driver routing that you can then assign deliveries to specific drivers if it is a delivery-heavy business.
So if you want the best point of sale system for your bar or for your nightclub, click on the link in the description below and you can actually go over to our website and we can hop on a call and we can see if it's a good fit for your business or not. So see you guys over there. Peace.